Last week I was planning to be fishing today out in the Gulf of Mexico, but Tropical Storm Bonnie came up, and I don't know if it's going to be that bad, but I just kind of blew it off, and it's a beautiful day, and I found out about this Yahoo project, so I headed over to a friend's and borrowed her camera, and here I am playing with it on the way back. It kind of concerns me. Bonnie is going over the well site where it's been spilling out in the Gulf forever, and I've born and raised in the Gulf Coast, and I work in seafood a little bit, and it's really got me kind of worried as to what's going to happen, and what the future is going to be for everything. If there is going to be a future for some fishermen out there, if the Gulf Coast is going to be like I remember it from all my life. Well, it's a beautiful day, so I decided I'd go work with my bees. I started beekeeping just before they started using the term colony collapse disorder, and bees started dying off in large numbers. It's kind of like the oil mess out there and kind of changing the life of fishermen. Something out there is affecting the bees and their environment and causing CCD and killing them off in large numbers. Bees pollinate about a third of our crops. Can't imagine no more watermelons or almonds or cucumbers. It's kind of like with the oil mess. Imagine a New Orleans without oysters or barbecue shrimp. Right here I'm working with my smoker, getting it ready. The smoke kind of calms the bees and makes it a lot easier to work around them, and keeps you from getting stung a lot, which is never any fun. Bees are really fascinating. I mean, from the time a worker bee emerges from the cell until she dies can be measured in a matter of weeks. But yet a queen bee can live as long as 7 years in great conditions. Now, the worker bees have different jobs throughout their lifespan. They'll start off working in the hive, either playing nurse to the larva or tending to the queen or building cells. And they'll wind up outside the hive, either bringing in pollen or nectar when they're older, and then just one day die. In fact, I once found a bee inside of a flower, and it had pollen in its legs and had died in place, bringing that pollen back. You can see here where I'm smoking before I open up the hive. And just open it up now, you can begin to see some of the bees under there. Now, I thought I got stung there, but actually it's the metal top from the hives. It's just super hot today. And actually, like a bee sting feels really hot. That felt hot when I touched it. In fact, look here. You can see some of the bees working outside the hive. They're fanning to actually bring air from the outside in through the hive. You can see right there and over there. But finding that one bee in the flower, I mean, it was kind of wild. It kind of reminded me of the day my dad died. He was 44 years old, came home from work, ran 5 miles, stood up in the kitchen, and died. I mean, 1 minute you're moving around, the next minute you're dead. There you can see some honey that's capped off in the frames. Actually, this isn't a great shot. Maybe if I put this back and put the camera on a tripod, you can really see some neat stuff. All right, those are the frames. There's 10 of them to a hive, or 10 of them to a box in the case of what I'm doing here. And when I pull this out, you can see worker bees all over. The glistening you see is actually nectar. The nectar is what turns into honey. There you can see some more capped honey in the middle. But the nectar's actually got to be reduced in moisture content before it becomes honey. Then the bees put a cap over it, and you've got honey. And that's really all I'm doing today is checking this box to see how far along they're going with making the honey so I can rob it and get me some. Now to close it up, a few stray bees on the top. I'll just brush them out here and throw the lid on. It is hot today, man. Very hot. I can imagine if I was out fishing in the Gulf with no wind moving around, how hot it would be. So clean up, grab everything, and that's it for the bees. Now on to the rest of the day. We got a party to go to. The party's about a 30-minute drive from our house. There's my wife, Susanna. She's driving. Say hey, Susanna. Party's at our friend Edie's house. Edie's really a very neat and special person to a lot of us, especially to me. She's the mother to our friends Larry and Lynn and Keith, and here we are pulling up to Edie's house, ready to go inside. Hey, Midge. There's her dog, Midge. There's Lynn. Hey there yourselves.
My gracious.
How are you, birthday lady?
I am fine, and how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. That was Alexandra, Edie's granddaughter, standing next to her. And yes, today is Edie's birthday. 88 years old today. And she told me it's okay to tell you that.
Oh,
It's such a great time having parties at Edie's house. We cook out, everyone brings food, we have a grand old time, and it seems like she's always the one having the most fun. For this birthday party, someone said everyone wear a silly hat, so we're eventually going to wear silly hats. Edie keeps asking where her hat is, and Len keeps telling her, it'll be coming soon, you'll get to show everybody, so it's kind of a surprise for all of us. For the record, Edie's not a tippler. She takes all night to drink this beer and half a glass of champagne. Right here, she's telling us a story about being married to Roy. Roy was in the military, and they used to go to these functions where everyone would start drinking. And Edie would always have to say,
"Oh boy, don't start that. I get too sexy."
and finally she gets her crazy hat. That's the Edie I know. Always laughing, always living. As I said earlier, my father died at 44 years old. I was only 15 at the time. I've spent most of my life since then thinking I was probably going to die the same age or even younger than he was because I don't live as clean a life as he did. But around Edie, I finally learned it's not about end of life. It's about life itself, and get over it. Just live it to the fullest. Make every day a happy day. Make everyone you meet the happiest person you could possibly meet. Hug a lot of dogs. Here she is, an 88-year-old woman, plopping down on the floor so she can be close to her dogs. I mean, it's really something. I remember her 80th birthday, her and her sister both sitting down on the floor. And you know, it's just amazing the way that people, well, the way that I was deciding that my life was going to be over and living like my life was going to be over. And then seeing someone like Edie who never thinks about it being over, who only thinks about the moment, the happiness, the being with friends, the being with family, the being there for everyone. I mean, this is how crazy she is on her birthday. Look at her. Robbie takes her out for a ride on a bicycle built for two. That's our Edie. That's her son Keith eating there to the left. He made a great meal tonight of some fresh Gulf shrimp and corn and vegetables on the grill. You know, Edie said she'll never get old. She'll never get old because she refuses to hang around old people. But I don't think it's just hanging around young people that keeps her like she is. I think it's an attitude of having never met a stranger, having been a wonderful mother, grandmother, friend, and just generally always having fun. Here it is time for us to wear hats again.
Hello, Paul.
At this point, Edie decides to tell us about her early days in Florida.
No, I was taking a sunbath on the beach. I was laying on the beach, and these guys walked by, and this guy says, I wasn't looking, had my eyes closed, but I heard him say, so round, so firm, so fully packed.
So round, so firm, so fully packed. One of the gang suggested it might have just been from a cigarette advertisement that was popular back then.
Oh, no, he wasn't. He was talking about me.
Hell yeah.
Cute.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. And I wasn't too bad looking back then
you
either.
weren't. I love that picture of you guys, your sisters.
I wasn't.
Oh, you know,
You're not too
Miss Queen Edie.
bad looking right now. I mean, I'm telling you.
Pretty easy on the eyes.
That's it.
For all these years.
Finally, lights are turned down low. Edie's blown out her birthday cake candles, and she makes a toast.
I just say it's great to have all of these kids of mine here.
And it's great to have our mother, the kid, right here with us too.
Absolutely. So let's drink up.
Here, here.
This is my life in a day, and these are some of the people that I spend my life with. And this is our Queen Edie.
Queen Edie!
Bow to you. Bow to you.
Oh, I accept it. Thank you. Here's to you.
By the way, that's that same beer.